All right, we're good.
Welcome to our Posh podcast. I am Gabrielle. I'm your host today with my daughter Marcella.
Hello.
And my Puerto Rican buddy Bernie.
Hello, hello, hello.
And our unbelievably amazing Miss Polly.
Hello, hello.
And Spider, our DJ, who handles everything.
Hello.
And we are live for the first time, you guys. This is so
Yes.
exciting. We have, I don't know, this is show 220 something, I think, that we're recording right now. And this is our first time going live on YouTube and Twitch, right? And we're going to do Facebook and Instagram eventually, but this is our first try. So I hope everyone enjoys the live version of it. And we want to first and foremost thank everyone for listening,
Yes.
for watching on
Absolutely.
all our social media channels, which is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn. What else?
All of the
YouTube.
above.
Grindr.
YouTube.
Grinder.
Grinder.
My
Not-
favorite grinder.
Well, Bernie is on there already.
YouTube.
I hope not.
No,
What
wait,
do
that's the gay one.
Oh, yeah. No,
That was
of course.
very well.
I have to keep all the fans good.
Oh, yeah. But today's show is actually quite exciting. Like, first and foremost, we're almost 3 years into this podcast thing.
God, that's crazy.
And we
Insane.
have over 50,000 downloads and
It's been very
just
fun.
very, very fun. And this is actually the original crew. This is Marcella, myself, and Bernie. That's what we have been doing. And Miss
Yes.
Polly as our modern day Dr. Ruth.
It's that's right. It's gotten better and better and better.
Exactly. And
Hey,
And Miss Polly, we love when she's in the studio, but she had to move to Amarillo to be with her mom. And hopefully we can get her back in the studio. And we also, this concept, we have guests a lot of times. Today we don't because we're not allowed to have anyone in the studio because of COVID.
Yep.
But we have a special show today that actually Miss Polly,
I'm a little nervous
It
about
was-
today's show because
It's
I don't know what's coming
directed
here.
towards Bernie.
Yes.
Apparently.
We'll see.
well, Miss Polly
It was-
has the idea because,
Bring it.
tell us, Miss Polly.
because Bernie had such a what's the word I'm looking? Aversion to lubrication.
Oh wow. Wow. All right.
And I just wanted him to know that it wasn't, I felt like, and this is just my observation, it may not be the truth, but sorry guys, I got something on me.
Lubrication. You get some lube on you?
It could have been. No, just kidding. Totally just kidding. Looked that way a little bit. Just kidding. Was really, I think he took it personally in terms of why lubrication was important and thought that he didn't need to use it because it was a failure on his part if she wasn't.
So the title of today's show is, I just want to make that clear. There's a title to the show.
There is a title.
And the
to
title is called The Ebb and Flow of the Female Arousal, that is dedicated to Bernie Diamond by Miss Polly.
You know, so I'll say this to preface the show. So we're gonna be disagreeing on some of this stuff here. I get it, but you know, I still think that I'm gonna say it. I think spit works well, and we'll go from there. So
Miss Polly
Let's
just
just go, Miss
fainted
Polly.
again. This is usually what happens. She gets very upset with Bernie. But I wanted to also take the opportunity for 1 second, since we're live for the first time, that this show, we talk about all kinds of different
Yes.
topics. We have guests on that we have discussed several different things about. We talk about everything and anything for the most part.
yeah,
We do talk about sexual health things a lot because we try to help people, men and women, especially with Miss Polly, who is the expert and our sexual health therapist on the show. And we usually have segments. We have a question of the day segment and a party with Miss Polly segment that always discusses important sexual health questions. But this entire show is a sexual health lesson
dedicated to me.
geared especially to Bernie,
I love
but
this.
Or any other man who feels this way.
and I really think it's not necessarily so much about feeling this way. It's more along the educational piece of female arousal. And yes, the ebb and flow and how it really goes.
Do tell. Let's get the party started, Miss Polly.
Because one thing that we all know is that male and female libido are two different things, okay? You can have a high libido and you can have a low libido. And so you're especially for females, really and truly, our libido can change like that. And it can change because of so many different things. So lubrication can make all the difference in the world when it comes to having good sex. And your body has its own, or for females, our body has a built-in lubrication system right there. Unfortunately, you just cannot will yourself to get wet.
You can't wish for it.
You can't wish for it. You can't. And sometimes it just doesn't happen even when you're turned on. You can be so turned on. So, Bernie, even if she's turned on and not wet, it's not a failing on your part. Okay?
But in fairness to it, I've never, ever felt like it was a failing on my part because... I mean,
but you keep saying I can just go downtown and get her there.
But it's a fact.
You say that.
It's a fact because
no,
it is.
It's not a fact that you can just go down there if her libido is not there, and like I just said, that even if she is properly aroused and turned on, she may not be lubricated. And I will say it again, spit is not lube. It is water. It is water. Okay? It dries up.
So hold on a second. Wait, let me interject here. So if NMC is happening, right? And everyone's feeling it, but a female is not lubricating, and we're in it, and I'm going down on someone and I'm getting them wet, but then there's also, I'm also coming out a little bit. So it like totally works. I've never had it become an issue to where
I want to talk to every one of his girlfriends and ex-wives just to make sure.
I'm just saying.
You, from your perspective.
Correct.
Okay. I'm talking about the female perspective. Okay.
All right.
So various studies have shown that it takes people with vaginas anywhere from 10 to 45 minutes to get fully aroused, aka the blood is flowing to all parts. Okay. Not just the outside, but all the parts. Because just because you're lubricated on the entrance, you may not be fully lubricated all the way into the vagina, which your spit's not going to flow all the way into the vagina.
Let me ask this though. Fair enough. I hear you. So with that being said though, if a woman's not feeling it, can't a guy not feel it too? Like, isn't it? I mean, in the sense of it,
you can totally not be feeling it as well. I mean, I'm not just saying. I'm talking at this particular point about female arousal.
That confuses me.
So, for example, if because if it doesn't feel good for a woman, let's say that a man is having sex with a woman and it's not lubricated down there. It feels just as shitty for a guy as it does for a girl if there's no lubrication, right?
Not necessarily because a guy can. So the guy is not going to be experiencing tearing and microfissures due to that lack of lubrication.
Fair enough, but I will tell you this: so if it's ever a point where it's uncomfortable, it feels as uncomfortable for a guy as a girl. Unless the guy's just an asshole who's just ramming somebody.
Sometimes
I feel like it's ripping.
Yeah, if you're so for me, I've never had sex to where I'm feeling it uncomfortable for them, because if it's uncomfortable for them, it feels uncomfortable for me too.
But here you're also some guys are maybe not as sensitive to that and how it feels for her a lot of times.
See, I mean, that's not me. Like, but it's going to feel good for everybody.
You may not know that unless she's communicating it to you, and that's where her comes in. Unless she's communicating to you, hey, I'm getting a little dry. And here's the thing, is like, even during sex, okay, there, like I said, her arousal can go up and down.
For sure.
Okay. Even though surveys have also shown that most couples are having sex between 5.4 minutes to 19 minutes. Okay. Which means most people are not giving enough time to get fully aroused or engage in foreplay. We like to think our bodies have on and off switches, and they don't, unfortunately. We're far more complex than that. So also, the other thing is maybe she can be dehydrated. So dehydration can be a culprit behind vaginal dryness. That can affect older and young people too. It's not just,
Now, this show, I think, is also important to teach women about their libido and how it functions. And yes. I think that this is not a beat up on Bernie. Just
it really is.
It's not a matter. There's nothing about it that makes him feel beat up, because y'all are taking me as one example of sex, and I think it's misconstrued because
I think she said that other people are not as sensitive as you are.
But that's the thing about it. For me, whenever I'm intimate, if there's someone, the handful of times that someone maybe hasn't been lubricated or that's just being not in tune sexually with the situation. If you're just jamming your dick in somebody, that's not sexy. That's not even kind of. There has to be definitely a build up to the intimacy. That's what creates this amazing experience, not just put your penis in somebody. There's nothing sexy about that to me.
And we all know that. I think what led to it, Bertie, was your adamant
and I still feel very adamant
refusal
about it.
Or dislike of
lubricant.
No. I can really support myself on this one, because
really and truly started this whole thought process was, and here's what I'm trying to say to you, is that there are so many different reasons to use, and not to just go downtown and make it all better, because it doesn't always work that way. And not to be afraid, or not afraid, but to listen to your partner and communicate with your partner, because there's a lot of fun lubricants out there too that can make having sex so much better, and utilizing it during foreplay can also be fun. So that in turn led me to talking about the ebb and the flow of the female arousal and libido, and how important some of these things and what can affect these things, because a lot of time we don't talk about those things. Just like we talked about how age can affect men and sex, so can it affect females. We get literally change in our hormones because it's one of our most common causes of vaginal dryness is a decrease in estrogen levels. So it can happen after childbirth even. So it doesn't happen just as, we get older, but after childbirth, I don't know how many women come up to me and say, I just had a kid and oh my God, it's like the Sahara down there. It's true.
For sure.
It really, truly happens. It can happen. It's like, okay, so your body's not making it, so you're gonna have to use another means.
So the 8 things that are super important for women to know are: number 1, the brain is your biggest sex organ.
Truly.
So I feel like that's where Bernie believes, rightfully so from what he says, that is where he always gets to women through their brain, right from the beginning. I feel that's what I get.
So I'll just bring it back around so I can clarify it to everybody. So in my thought process, when it comes to sex or intimacy, it is an experience. So it's always that. So because I have such a healthy appetite for sex and I like everything about it, Oral sex is good, anal sex is good. There's nothing that's off limits for me. But it's not a matter of just going in, putting my dick in somebody, or getting a blowjob or something like that. It's a matter of the entire experience building up to it. So never would I ever push a situation if I wasn't feeling it with someone. And so the way to get that whole feeling is for everyone to be, just like you said, in the mindset of feeling it emotionally, feeling it mentally, because there's too many options out there to feel like I need to force somebody into it. Now, my fortunate experience as I've gotten older, knowing what I like, what I don't like, is that the people that I've been intimate with, I've been fortunate enough to not have this major issue of this Sahara desert. I just haven't, right? And so if it came to an experience where it just was dry and it didn't feel good, I'm not opposed to lubrication. But in my experience, what I found that if I'm being intimate with someone or I'm going down on someone or whatever, it's never been an issue. And if there's ever been a time where I'm intimate with someone and it doesn't feel good, like when I put my dick in them, there's always a part of lubrication. Now, I've never ever, I want to clarify, I've never had the opinion that I'm opposed to lubrication or whatnot, but what has worked for me is that spit usually works well. It works totally fine. Now, I'm not opposed to it, but it has always worked well in my situation. So I want to clarify that I'm not someone who is anti-lubrication.
Like, how dare you bring this lube out?
No, I'm not like that. Like, if it comes to
so if she does bring it out, though, are you opposed to using it? If she says,
I've never ever been opposed to it. I've never ever been in my situation of the sex that I've had. It's never, it's never been like that. It's never been like, hey, let me spit on it. It's usually I'm going down on someone, and it's just it all works well together. It all flows very well together. So, I mean, there's been plenty of times where lubrication has been used for different parts, if it's anal sex or something like that. But like I said, yours was the jump off point that led to this conversation. But you're under the impression that I am anti-lubricant, and I'm not.
Well, if a girl were adamant about it.
No, I was very, very confident in the fact that I haven't had to need it.
Ever.
No. That's not what I said.
Well,
that's
why I'm having this conversation with you.
But I think it's good for everybody to know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But there's also some tasty things that not just lubricants. I'm learning right here. It says there's health nutritionists. They say blueberries and strawberries both contain an antioxidant which boosts circulation.
But are you gonna pull the blueberries out first?
So do you put them in, or you eat them?
I don't know. I think you eat them.
Do you make a smoothie out of it and then you put it on it?
I don't know. You could try.
Well, we already talked about putting food in our vaginas, and that was a no-no.
Oh, that's a no-no. So you eat the blueberries and the strawberries. I'm assuming. So I wonder if it's like. So I talked to this porn star once, and she said that they have to.
Was it the Emily whatever?
No, but this is somebody, a friend of mine was dating a porn star, and she talked about the preparation for anal, and like that the day before they eat a bunch of cantaloupe and they clean themselves out, and
Emily did talk about that.
Oh yeah, and they'll like douche their asshole, and you like do all of this so that on camera they don't like shit everywhere.
Yeah.
But so I'm thinking is women should, I wonder, Miss Polly, does pineapple juice like really do what it says it does?
And it's supposed to make it taste better or something like that?
It's supposed to make it taste better, like men, and I think women too. It makes you taste better. I think if you drink a lot of water, your diet. So now we're adding strawberries and blueberries, which can help with.
It helps any.
Just a fruit salad down there, guys. Fruit salad down there.
Eat a fruit salad.
Eat a fruit salad. Fire, of course.
It says red wine is good.
Because it's also an antioxidant. Grapes are good.
It helps improve blood flow.
I'm just thinking of fruit. I'll never look at fruit salad ever the same.
Ever.
Eat a fruit salad, ladies.
Well, Italian people say that red wine helps you
be wet.
Or
helps your libido.
Yes, and reports more sexual desire, according to a study done in Italy. Watermelon, a nutrient that sets off a chain reaction to relax blood vessels and increase circulation to all parts of your body. I guess. Are you laughing at my?
Yes, I'm sorry. Your accent is very strong right now.
That's This is so funny.
The red vine.
Red vine is very good.
The red vine
And
is
then
very
circulation.
That's good.
I was like trying so hard not to laugh.
Any types of nitric oxide,
Oh my
like
God.
anything. You can take a nitric
going
oxide
to
I'm
supplement.
not reading anymore.
What's that, Miss Polly?
We're talking vasodilation here.
Vasodilation. So any kind of nitric oxide. So, for example, beets are great nitric
Love
oxide.
beets.
Yep. So you can do it
Beets
with.
are so good.
So you can make a smoothie with beets, berries, stuff like that.
Watermelon.
Antioxidants,
And your
watermelon.
vagina is
And
ready
your
to
vagina
go.
will be ready to go.
And then you don't need any
That's
lube.
right. So you have a
Or
lubricated,
anything.
vasodilated vagina. It's good. It's
Not
going to be good.
necessarily.
It says
Yeah.
chickpeas.
Let's talk about our medication.
And
Let's
licorice.
talk about medication.
Licorice? Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Licorice.
I
But
like
does it have to be
that.
black licorice or can I eat Twizzlers?
Hold on. A study
Great Twizzlers out of the vagina?
Hold
Would
on.
that work?
A
No.
study
food.
by the Smell and Taste Treatment and Research Foundation found that the scent of Good and Plenty licorice candy, when mixed with the smell of cucumber, triggered a 13% increase in vaginal blood flow. Go figure that.
Y'all are going to have to like experiment and let me know how that would like.
So like a candle or like
So you use a Twizzler as like a
It would-
straw
it-
as you're drinking the whole
smell
thing?
of it triggers blood flow into your vagina.
Oh.
That's what I'm assuming that she's saying. Okay. Well, as long as you are okay with that.
Now, blueberries and strawberries actually create a natural Viagra effect.
Wow.
Okay.
For
How
men
do you-
and women or just women?
So how do I think of the antioxidant part of blueberries
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but I don't think of that as like a vasodilator. To open up your
1 cup
arteries.
a week can help prevent high blood pressure on top of being
That is
natural
true.
Viagra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you do beets, like I know for a fact, beets, if you did, it's a insane natural nitric oxide. So you can do that. If you like it, it's good. Mix it with berries. You do it as a smoothie once or twice a day.
I love beets.
Yep, it's good. Your vagina
your-
will thank you then.
It makes your pee very red.
It does. It
That's
does.
scary.
That's interesting. Wow.
So let's talk, of course, because we're still talking female libido, myths and facts.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and what can lead to, of course, vaginal dryness, and what can also is for men as well, medications. So allergy, cold medications, anything that contains antihistamines, as well as asthma medications.
I know
And-
antidepressants are
Yeah.
really bad. So I have at different points in my life, I've had different antidepressants I've been on, and there were some that I couldn't get an erection on, and there were some that I couldn't orgasm on. It was the most horrendous.
Frustrating.
Oh, it was so miserable. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So there were some antioxidants that, I mean, it's been years since I take them, that just for whatever reason, they just suppress my sex drive. And then there was
You had
some
to be miserable.
miserable. Hated life. It's like, do I stay
Been there,
depressed
done that.
or do I miss sex? Because sex helps depression. So I just decided to, stay depressed and have good sex. But then there was a flip
You came
side
out
of
of that.
I came out of that one doing good. And then there's the flip side of it of having an antidepressant that doesn't allow you to orgasm or come. It's frustrating.
I have met someone like that before,
Yeah.
and I felt so
Fucking
bad.
miserable.
Very
It was the
miserable.
worst
Like, what do you do with
when
that?
it happened to me because I thought there was something wrong with me.
Why you couldn't come or anything?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be, it's like being on the roller coaster
Yeah.
at the very top and you just couldn't get over. So it's like being in a constant state of arousal and being like,
So
if
You
horrible.
have permanent
So
blue
horrible.
balls or blue vagina.
Yeah. Can y'all
Yes.
get blue vagina-ish? Like, because guys, we get blue balls.
I mean, you are actually in physical pain, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's physical pain. Like you touch
Yes,
your
where the
balls and you're
blood
dying.
flow is literally right all there and it's irritated. You're like in pain where the vulva is engorged.
You've never had that?
Has a heartbeat.
So y'all have
No.
never really? Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Been there,
Yeah.
done that.
It's
Not
crazy.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I had blue balls. That was more like high school where,
Yeah, but that's, I thought, like, because men are actually in pain. Like, you're actually hurting.
But as an adult, I'm able to have sex. So I'll deal with that part about it.
Yeah.
But no, that's got to be fucking miserable. I know it's miserable for a man. That's going to be miserable for a woman.
Yeah. Anyway.
How long did that last for?
Well, for me, it lasted, a few weeks until I went to my doctor and said, okay, I don't know what we've got to do, but I'm about ready to throw these pills down the drain.
So how long after you stopped the pills were you able to not have blue clit?
Do what?
I said, how long after you stopped taking the pills were you able to not have blue clit?
Actually, she put me on I was on 3 different antidepressants at the time. I was diagnosed at that time with PTSD, so I was under a lot of medication.
That's terrible.
And it was a really rough time, but not being able to utilize my most important stress reliever. Was like literally, it was like adding one more thing to my stress.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want that.
Well, that's the shitty thing is that's a real situation, real issue.
Wellbutrin was one of the ones that they added, and it was just so much better after that.
I hated Wellbutrin. I tried that.
My God.
Well,
I can tell you, I got really loud when I finally got to actually have an orgasm.
I know that people who've gone chemo and stuff like that
have gone what?
Through chemo.
Oh, yes.
It's really bad.
No kidding.
It's like, thanks a lot. Like, you have to do that, and then that on top of it.
That's a really hard thing. I do know.
Yes, chemotherapy and radiation, especially to the pelvis, can lead to low estrogen and totally like knock out it's hard to, sex after cancer is not the same as sex before.
But I think that comes if you're with somebody, then you have to be patient and understanding. It's like when you don't have a sex drive, that's frustrating too. You're like, I don't know, like maybe I'm asexual. I have no idea. I don't want anything or anything to do with it. I feel like that's not, you don't want to be like that. You know what I mean?
That's gotta be really tough because it really is the flip side of it. I couldn't imagine being on the side where you truly have no desire for it, and then being on the other side where you're like, I need some sex.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do at that point?
Especially women with low desire have 3 times the level of depression that regular women do. Because I mean, just add one more thing on there, in terms of, I don't want sex. And I'm, a lot of times, especially when your hormones are going through it's leveling, like especially with perimenopause and menopause, we don't know what the hell we want. And sometimes it's just like, I'm not in the mood at all. And even when they spend the time to help you with, like if the foreplay is there, you still may not get into it.
Or like you lose feeling, like
in a lot of ways.
It's gonna be a tough situation because I mean, with that particular point, how do you make a marriage work at that point, a relationship work when like
you have to have a lot of communication, man. A lot of communication because you have to be able to talk about what you're going through and what's going on with your body. And because you may not even know what's going on with your body, you're like, I don't know. And that's why it's important to also talk to a doctor, for God's sake. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes because if you don't know what's going on and you don't know how to fix it, and honestly, because I have hormonal issues, I know that even with a great diet and everything else going on, I mean, when your body is thrown into menopause, regardless, because you've had your plumbing removed, your body is not your own.
So here's a question: that I'm just going to say it because I'm curious about it.
Say.
So if you're in a relationship and I mean, do you have the conversation about if your partner has needs and you are not going to meet those needs and you know it, you just, because I can imagine if you've lost that drive for sex where it's just, you do not care. And I mean, do you
get mad at someone for finding it elsewhere? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that's the thing is, does your partner justify infidelity? Do you guys have a conversation? Do you get a pass? I know it sounds like a fucked up thing to ask, but like it's a real question.
I guess it's a fair question because if you're not going to do anything, it's like,
I mean, I know we would say no.
If you're not going to do anything, then yeah, but then you have to realize as that person has the low desire or no desire that there are compromises that need to be made.
God, I know a lot of couples that
do what?
Don't have sex for years.
And they're not even going through shit like this.
For years.
I think you get in the habit. So I had a girlfriend who was going to get married, and I think maybe I've talked about this before.
You have talked about this before.
But she said, like, you have to get back into it, and it's super awkward because it's become such a habit that you don't. And neither one of them were with other people. It just became the habit in the relationship that then it became awkward, which I know for you that would not happen, but not all men are like you are. So there are some men who have no sex drive. I've been with people before that they're insecure or they just are stressed with, like, as a man, they don't.
So were they bad in bed or they just had no sex drive?
No, just like not in the mood, like tired or insecure.
How did you deal with that?
Oh, I was pissed.
Right?
It made me feel insecure on my own self because I thought there was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. It's just, but I didn't like go anywhere else. It's just an insecurity thing.
So I know of another couple, for instance, where I think the man felt, what is that word?
Less than insecure?
Yeah, but it's a word.
Demoralized,
demasculated.
Demasculated.
Okay.
And then
emasculated.
And I don't know what he did, but I know
that's a real. The thing is, all of these are real situations, right? I mean, sex. So for example, with me, my number one thing with my love language is physical touch. It's not all about just sex. That is me. Anyone I'm dating, I'm touching,
hugging, the kissing, the touching, the holding hands.
And so it would be really hard for me. I'm not saying I couldn't. I've been fortunate. Thank God I've never been in that situation, but it would be really challenging for me to be in a relationship with someone that there was no physical touch. But it's also the other flip side of it is like, if my partner, literally that gene has been pulled out for whatever time being where they're just not feeling it, they're going through something health-wise, I don't know.
I think that if you are in love with somebody and they went through something like cancer or something like that, I think there has to be. And I think when we go back to the shows prior, like the pre-marriage checklist stuff, it's like, would you be willing to work through that with somebody or not? And I think you have to be patient. I think
you do.
I've never had cancer or anything like that.
No,
God forbid. But it's like, is that fair to them for you to be like, bye? Like,
sorry, bye.
So I think to the marriage, so we can add to the pre-marriage checklist a backup list of people to date. I'm just kidding. Kind of kidding. But no. I mean, but those are real things. Like, what do you do at that point? Because I agree with you in the fact that if anyone's listening, if you watch any of our previous shows on the pre-marriage checklist, is asking the really hard questions about before you get married to someone, because tragedies like this happen all the time.
They do.
And now it comes down to, and our last show was talking about how people love on emotion as opposed to core values. And this comes to a perfect example of something where really core values of why do you love that person? What made you fall in love with that person? And as opposed to, it doesn't mean that wouldn't be tough. And I can't say what I would do if I was in that situation. I want to give the best answer I could, but I mean, that's a tough one. I
don't think it's forever. So it's like,
no.
I think it's
we'd
just
like
being
to
patient.
hope it wasn't forever.
You would hope it wasn't.
Yeah.
But most of these situations are temporary.
Yeah.
And most of these situations that we're discussing are things that can be fixed. And they have fixes. It's not like I mean, unless they are asexual and they feel like no sex at all ever.
How do you fix that?
You get divorced.
Well, I don't know.
No, I mean like for that person.
I don't even know.
For that person is that you've already made a commitment of some level, and if they're asexual and they don't want it at all, my question is, if they did before, there's something wrong. There's something else wrong that needs to be looked at, because like I was saying, I mean, there are times when you have to seek medical attention. You have to find out what's going on, because it's not always a quick fix. And there could be something seriously wrong with them. Like, you know, who knows? I don't know. But what I'm just saying is most of them are easy fixes. You know, irritants like chemicals in your medications that you're taking, antihistamines, you know, antidepressants, these things can be adjusted. They can, or, you know, find something that works for you without taking medication. There are things that can be done.
And it comes down to being supportive. I mean, if you're in a marriage, you have to somehow figure things out.
Work
you
it
can't
out.
Just go, okay, I'm going to cheat. I mean, you
can't just go, I'm going to cheat.
No.
You've got to, well, and on the other hand, you know, as that partner who is having the issue, the last thing you want to do is for them to cheat. So, hello, you got a hand, they've got a hand. You have a mouth. You know?
No, seriously, I completely agree with you.
Literally
take one for the team, guys. You take one for the team.
I think cheating is such a, like, when I love somebody, I could never do that. So regardless of what's going on, I feel like that, like, to actually cheat, and it's not in my makeup to do that. I'm just not made like that. Like, I couldn't even think about that if I'm really truly in love with someone, regardless if they can have sex with me every day or not. If they're going through something and we're talking about it, I'd want to be supportive, I guess.
Let me ask this, though. So the flip side of that, the flip side would be, because we are all emotional human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're
extremely
emotional, right? Emotional. So here's the question, though. So if you're married to someone and they're asexual, they have no sex drive at all, you know, initially
vibrator,
but right, all the things you can, lubrication, Miss Polly, lubrication. But no, here's the thing: is that because we are all emotional, you know, at that particular point, when does it become a feeling of feeling rejected? And if that's the case, nobody, I don't think anyone, there's very few people, I'm sure there's some assholes out there who just say, fuck it, I'm going to cheat because I don't give a fuck, right? But
yeah,
when does it come a point where you're feeling that insecurity, feeling rejection, and then there's some handsome guy or some beautiful girl who's giving you that attention and you're craving, you're not even realizing you're craving it, you're missing it because you're feeling rejected and you're just like, it feels shitty and you're feeling a disconnect from your person. And I know it's all situational, but I'm just
saying, yeah,
I
think if you're
situational.
Communicating, like if I know the reason why they're not, and I know for certain it's like not me, it's something like medication or an illness or something that we've discussed, I feel like is different. Now, if you're just being rejected just because whoever you're with is kind of a dick, I think that's totally different.
Totally. But what if it's not that? What if it's not? And there's no way we can say whatever we want to say. Yeah. It's situational. It has to be everyone differently done, right? But I think that would be a really tough situation, even if y'all are communicating, because at the end of the day, we all are emotional. Nobody wants to be rejected. And, you know, that would be tough.
Yeah.
It would be totally tough. So,
on that note, we're going to go to the question of the day.
The two posh girls ask the question of the day.
Would you be upset if you found out your ex you're still in communication with was going on a reality TV show?
No.
Fuck no. Not even kind of. If it's an ex, I don't give a shit. Honestly, any ex that I have, they're an ex for a reason.
Keyword, ex.
What's that?
I said keyword.
Exactly.
Ex.
I mean, I
no,
don't have
I
any
would not
feelings
be
about it all.
upset.
I wouldn't be upset either. I would
I'd
be
be
laughing my
I'd
head
be
off
laughing
watching.
more making fun of the whole thing.
Yes, for
but-
sure.
Or looking at the other person going, "Oh, you in for it now."
Yeah.
I guess it depends.
That wouldn't bug me at all.
Yeah.
No.
We should just be watching and
Yeah.
judging. No, I'm
No,
kidding.
you're not. You were totally
Judging.
seriously. I'd be judging the
So
hell out of it all.
You can't help it. I mean, if it's an ex, there's obviously things
Oh, well.
that didn't work out.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, let's go to a party with Miss Polly.
It's time to party with Miss Polly.
The modern day Doctor.
Now, as usual, Miss Polly has a question none of us know about, so let's hear it.
So we're gonna take it into the BDSM world here.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Well,
Ah!
Oh damn. Oh yeah.
sorry. So, how to properly choke your partner without literally crushing their windpipe.
That's probably really important because you
Yeah.
might accidentally
Really
kill
is.
somebody.
Yeah.
There is a purpose. So, erotic asphyxiation is what it's called. It occurs by blocking the carotid artery or arteries, in turn depriving the brain of oxygenated blood during sexual play.
Does it give it like a super heightened, like?
As
does
the
it?
brain loses oxygen, the buildup of
Oxygen.
oxygen
Oxwin, I love
can
that.
create feelings of euphoria and can heighten sexual stimulation exponentially. So,
I guess that's the double-edged sword because who was the guy
Yes.
from NXS who didn't he hang himself masturbating or something like that?
yes, and
Somebody
Or
else.
somebody else. who
A
did that.
lot
Yes.
of people.
David Carradine.
Is that how he
Also-
died?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
That's so
Wow.
embarrassing.
I know, right?
Yeah, when you open the closet and you see somebody, with a belt and over there. Yeah.
Why not just hire
Couldn't you
someone
have
at that
somebody
point?
do it
I was gonna
for
say, why not
you?
just
Like,
hire somebody to do
God.
that for you?
You need
mean-
it that badly. So, Miss Polly, how should you not do it?
How should
Well,
you
how
not
you
kill
should
somebody?
not do it is if you're going to choke somebody, you should not use the palm of your hand and crush the windpipe. Okay.
Wow.
So your carotid
How about
artery
not do that at
is
all? Like,
close
I'm sorry.
to-
I know.
I am sorry. How about you?
I've known a
don't
lot
do
of people
any
who
of
like to
this?
choke.
No,
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Many people I know.
So
No, I don't agree with
just
this.
closer to the ear
Oh,
is where the
Lord.
carotid artery is. Okay. With your thumb, you can
I like that
depress
she's
on
showing it.
I know.
Well, I'm how
No, I'm happy you are.
show
I just
that.
was,
You show people how to choke
I was
each
just
other out.
watching you.
Okay, so you don't want to push down here, but with your fingers on the carotid artery, okay? So you're going to apply pressure in a pulsing motion, okay? So that you're watching, because you're going to really be watching your partner too. You have to maintain that eye contact, which can be sexy as fuck as well.
Unless they start passing out. There's no eye contact
Now,
there.
you don't want them to do that,
Well, I think
but
that the whole thing is insane, and
Just-
I'm sorry. I don't-
But it's good that she's telling people.
I
so that
know,
people
but
don't
why-
accidentally kill each other?
yeah.
Like,
no
what are you
matter-
gonna tell the cops? She
comfortable
asked me
to,
to.
okay?
I swear,
That's another
she told me to choke her out.
Yeah,
I swear.
right?
That's a totally another conversation. If your partner is asking you to apply more pressure or really choke you to death, that's not,
Choke you.
that's a different you need to stop everything and talk. Stay sane.
Have you ever
and
had anyone
consensual.
choke you out?
Didn't
No.
didn't
No.
someone tell us this? That someone who was it? You
That what?
that who told us that someone wanted to do that and they left? Who was that?
They laughed?
They
No, they
left?
left because they
No, it
were
was
scared.
definitely not me.
Who was that?
I
We had
don't
a
You
know.
said
guest on.
you said blank the name out. You said Katie had some dude choke the shit out of her, didn't he?
we are live, Bernie.
Yeah, we're live.
No, no, no. Oh,
Oh.
sorry. Sorry, Katie. So
Oh my god.
my bad, Katie. Sorry about that. Well, I've only done it one time, and I mean it was fine.
No, remember I said I like to be like grabbed, not like actually to where like
What's
my
the-
eyeballs are
What's the
gonna pop out.
difference? I mean, not eyes popped out, but
Well, I
so-
think actually
Sometimes
like
it's just the act of putting your hand
like the
Yeah.
pressure.
I don't mind that. I don't want somebody to like.
It's like the control thing. You don't necessarily always want to choke somebody, but just the act alone that you could is a very dominant and possessive thing.
That's interesting. I've had that done to me before. I've had a girl choke me a little bit. It was pretty good.
Of course, communication is key when it comes to choking.
Amen.
All right. Well,
my mom can't swallow.
On that note,
that's interesting.
we are going to thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.
And follow us on all social media platforms, and we will see you soon.